Welcome back. So today I was actually going to talk about what kind of day-to-day looks like living over here in Asia, and what day-to-day at the surf camp looked like, and how I spend my time. But I've decided to jump forward to what I was going to do next episode, which was to talk about social media. The reason why I think it's appropriate to jump forward is because I can give you guys like a very in the moment real reaction to what is happening with my social media, and I thought that would be quite cool, not only for you guys to kind of see that, but also for me to look back on in the future as quite a like pivotal moment in my next stage, I suppose. So to provide a little bit of context, I mentioned it in the YouTube video, the last YouTube video, which is called Why I Left Sri Lanka. I mentioned that I started posting on social media, so I'll do a quick recap if you've not seen that video. I have always wanted to post on social media. I've always felt like I have something to share, and I've always wanted to make a difference, which is one of the reasons why I joined the police. And since leaving, I've kind of struggled to feel like I'm not being useful or not being helpful, and that's something that is obviously deep rooted in my own sort of psyche for feeling productive, feeling like enough, all of those kind of things that I'm sure a therapist would love to have a field day on. I've been to plenty of therapy, so I don't feel like I need to explore that right now, not least of all with you guys right now on this YouTube video. But I've wanted to continue to make a difference, and I've wanted to continue to inspire and help people through my story, so they can see that even when you feel completely down and out, even when you flip your life upside down at 30, even when you're completely burnt out, even when you're diagnosed with ADHD or any sort of disability later on in life, physical or mental, even when you feel like there's no other option and you feel suicidal, that things can get better, that you can really change your life around. And of course it doesn't happen overnight. For me, it's been a 3-year process, probably longer. The crash, the fallout was a couple years, maybe longer. So yeah, the last 3 years I've been really working towards that, but that's a different video, so we'll save that one. Because today I want to talk about social media. So I made a trial reel, and this is the funny thing about ADHD, right? So when I first found out I had ADHD, I used to really beat myself up. So if I woke up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever time it was, and I had like a crazy thought of like, I've got an idea and you should go and do it right now, I would hate myself. I'd be like, this is shit, you're so stupid, like why can't you just sleep like a normal person? And I would really beat myself up, and obviously I wouldn't be doing anything productive because I wasn't sleeping, because my brain was going crazy. And then I would just be more tired throughout the day. And I'm not on medication, and again, I'll probably do a YouTube video on ADHD, but what I decided to do was, hey, do you know what? I can't fight my brain. So if my brain wants to go and do something, I'm just gonna let it happen. Like of course I understand that in an ideal world, at 5 a.m. you don't want to be on your phone because of the light and waking up naturally and all of these things that we get taught to optimize our day. But sometimes if I wake up and it's 5 a.m. and my brain is like, I have a script idea. Before, I would be like, not now. And I would maybe write a note, and then at 1 p.m. that day when I sat down to write it and my brain's like, I don't want to do this now, then I'd be even more annoyed because I had the idea and then I wanted to focus on sleep, so I didn't. And I'm not advocating not sleeping, because sleep is the most important thing. But for me, the strategy that I've started to use for my own sort of productivity and how I deal with ADHD is, if I wake up at 5 a.m. because I've got an idea, then I wake up and I do whatever the idea is, and then what tends to happen if you know someone with ADHD or you have ADHD, I crash. So I'll get up and I'll blitz whatever the idea is, and then that's it. I'm out, and I'm not going to do anything for the next few hours. I'll probably go back to bed. And that's essentially what happened with this reel. So I woke up, it was like 5 a.m. and I had that same battle of don't look at your phone. And my brain's like, no, let's go. Let's look at your phone, let's do something. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to scroll. I don't want to, like the night before I had like a bit of a doom scroll, like, which I very rarely do, to be honest. So it was like, I'd already had this kind of half an hour the night before of like seeing bigger creators and sort of beating myself up. So the morning when I woke up, I thought, I don't want to be scrolling, I don't want to be doing anything, I want to have a productive morning, whatever that means. But I woke up, my brain is like knocking, it's going, no, trust me, let's go. So because of the skills that I've learned, if you want to call them skills, coping strategies, let's call it that, I've learned to deal with my own goblin. I just went with it. I was like, okay, let's go. 5 a.m, it's dark. I'm staring at my phone like a crazy person. I am tired, but my brain is like, no, let's go. And over the course of about 30, 40 minutes, I created this reel. And the reel was like something I'd not thought about before. The script wasn't something I thought about before. The idea, like everything was brand new. Like it was not something I'd been working on or thinking about. And it's probably taken inspiration from one of that June, that big creator. But when I woke up, it was kind of my story and my spin on it. So I just ran with it. And then I thought, I like watched it back and I was like, I literally like it brought a tear to my eye and I was like, okay, I think that's really good. I'm gonna like, obviously not gonna post it now at 6 a.m. and I actually use ChatGPT. That's like another big ADHD hack is ChatGPT, because it helps me center my thoughts. Like when I have all these chaotic ideas and like, I'm like, I've got 5 reels, ChatGPT can help me to pick and rationalize which is the better idea to go for. So I don't use ChatGPT to give me ideas, I use it to direct my own brain. So I love ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT, like Boris, I think it's great for ADHD people, and I did see a reel about ADHD and autistic people like hating on ChatGPT, but I think it's awesome. Anyway, I made this reel, and then me and Chat were like, yeah, okay, cool, we'll post it at whatever time. Like, I'd had 2 back-to-back successful days. I had like a reel, probably do 4 or 5K the day before, and then like 3K that day. And all of the signals, all of the metrics were pointing to, I've got a green light. Like Instagram, the algorithm, the powers that be are saying, give us a viral reel because we want to light you up. Because I've been tracking the metrics, like I've been so crazy with it. I've been tracking every single detail. I week to week have check-ins with myself and Chat, obviously. And I and the AI, we like go through all of the metrics week to week, make sure that they're all in the right place, and they have been since week 1. They've always been in the right place. So yeah, I kind of felt like I had this green light for this viral reel. So anyway, I posted it as a trial because I didn't feel that confident in it. I just thought, I'll post it as a trial, I won't post today, and then we'll see what happens. And the way that trials work is they put the trials in the cold testing pool. So it's people that don't follow you, that don't engage with you, and it's like, what do you think to this? And then after 100 accounts have seen it, it will put it in another pool depending on how well it does. So if those 100 accounts do not engage with it and they think it's shit, then the reel will die, which is why a lot of people, when they post trials, get like 50 views. It's because trials aren't a given. They still have, the content still has to be good. So the algorithm isn't against anyone, it's just your content. And that's something that I've learned, is if you have shit content, you're not gonna grow. So the only way to make good content is by actually learning from the metrics that you're being provided. And this reel that I posted, it kind of did very, very slowly warmed up, and after a couple of hours, the metrics looked really good. So the things to track are the view rate past the first 3 seconds, and average watch time, and accounts reached. And then the big wins now are saves, sends, and reposts, because people don't really like anything anymore. And then comments are obviously a good thing as well. And all of those things were looking good. So the average watch was like 20 seconds, which is crazy because people don't have an attention span. And it was only a 42-second reel. So 23 seconds of people actually watching is super high. Like what your goal is for like 10 seconds. And the view rate past the 3 seconds was about 70, 74. It pushed up to 80 at some points, then came back down to sort of that mid 70 mark. And again, that's incredible. You want to be over 50, 60%. Like 60% is the green light. So anything over sort of 70 towards 80 is like, this is landing, the hook is strong. And then it kind of gradually, just very slowly warmed. And when I was comparing the metrics to the reels from the 2 days before, like this is how autistic and nerdy I've got, like hyper focused on the socials, is I was literally comparing the metrics to the days before, and it was like better. And so I was like kind of putting the metrics into chat and sort of saying like, what do you think? Are these numbers in the right place? Like I had obviously, as I said, I was anticipating a, should we say, blowout reel? And when I say blowout reel, I was expecting to break 10K views. 20K views was the dream, 10K views was the goal, because I'd not ever broken 10K views. So I was like, I want this to break 10K. And then when I went to bed, like it was on, so I posted it at 10 a.m. and I went to bed at maybe like 9, 10 o'clock. So it hit the 12-hour mark. And it was on about 5K, which is really good for a trial, because it means that it's past those first 12 hours. And trials start to get pushed from 12, and then from about 24 to 60 hours, that's when they explode. But you've obviously got to keep passing all those stages. So you don't always get to the 30-hour mark if the content isn't being engaged with and landed, which is the beauty of trial reels. So I had about 5K, I had like decent watch time. Like that was the crazy metric, is my watch time was really high. So it was only 42 seconds, and I can't remember, I've not written down what the number was, but it was hours and hours and hours of watch time, which 42 seconds. So people were watching it, and they were not just watching it, they were watching it the whole way through, and probably repeatedly. So the metrics were all in the right place, and I put all of it into chat, and I was like, right, this is the 12-hour point. What do we think? What's like the projections? And chat was like, likely it will break 10 over the next couple days. Best case scenario, like 20 to 40K, because the metrics are so good. So I was like, okay, cool, bet. That's good. I've got my first 10K view reel, and I can go to bed in the knowledge that I've broken the 10K mark, and I can start pushing on to 500 followers. So I went to bed, and then I didn't actually sleep that well, because I've been watching this horror YouTube, this YouTuber who plays horror games, because I'm like terrified of like horror games, but I find them fascinating. So I've been watching him play this horror game. So I didn't sleep very well, because I was like, what's in my room? And yeah, so I woke up and it was like, I think I woke up at something ridiculous, like 4:30, and the Man United game was on. They were losing to Everton. It was half time. And I was like itching to check Instagram. But again, I had that internal battle of like, it's 4 a.m., what are you doing? Like, you're not checking Instagram, it's 4 a.m., go back to bed. Tossing and turning, 10, 15, 20 minutes, couldn't sleep. So I went, okay, right, I'll put the Man United game on. That ended up waking me up, because Man United were terrible and ended up losing. So I had like a very open ear to listening to what the United game was doing. That finished, and I think by this point it must be coming up to about 6 a.m, probably 5:45. And by this point, like, I'm awake. And I was like, right, okay, fuck it. Like, I'm just gonna check. It's gonna be about 10K. Like, maybe I'll have hit 450 followers. So I opened the app, and the first thing that hit me was when you open the app and, like, in the top right, the notifications come on. It was like that picture that sometimes you see those like accounts that are like, I'll teach you how to grow your account, and they post a picture of how many likes and follows and comments they've got. I had that. It was like 100 follows, 100 comments, and however many likes. And I was like, okay. And then, like, I went over into, that was it. So when I woke up, because I've got my Instagram notifications turned off, so the only notifications I get are messages, like DMs, and I had all of these message requests from people I don't know. So I saw them first and I thought, okay, well, that's a positive. Open the app, see this like green light for all of the notifications. And I'm like, okay, maybe this reel did quite well. And then, like, I go onto the trial reel page. I didn't even, like, open the notifications. I went into the trial reel page to see how many views, and it was like 240,000 views. And I was like, okay, like, that's happened, and I don't really know. Checked my followers, and I'd gone up to like 900, and I was like, oh fuck, like, I've jumped. And that's the way that Instagram works, right? You don't really grow by like 5, 6, 7 here and there. That's so stuck in my head, by the way. And you grow by like the big blow up. So I text Lena, and she was awake. She's in Sri Lanka at the minute. And I said I wasn't going to mention her on this episode. And I was like, okay, it's happened. Like, it's blowing up. And she had a viral reel on TikTok before that did like 6-7 million. 6-7. Fuck my life. And so we were like talking about it, and in the time that we were talking about it, it went up to like another 50, 60K views. So obviously then I'm like straight over to chat, and I'm like, these are the metrics, these are the numbers, what's happening? And chat's like, this is it, like, this is viral trajectory. This is the one that is gonna go crazy. So I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. And at the point that I was messaging Lena, and my mum was still awake because she was at a funeral, and it like blew up to like 300-400K. So it was like flying. And at this point, like, I'm getting loads of notifications, loads of DMs, and chat is just like, leave it alone, don't touch it, don't do anything. So I'm like, okay, cool, but obviously I'm gassed, like, I'm super excited. So I see my follower count go over 1,000, I'm like, bet, that was my goal for the end of the year. And I thought that was delusional. And then Lena goes back to bed, and I'm laying in bed like a kid before Christmas. I'm like, Santa has come. So, but I'm like, it's 6 a.m, like, I can't do anything right now, like, nowhere's open. Well, they probably are, but I'm supposed to be asleep, and there's the place that I've been going to, like sauna and gym and stuff, it's like 7 a.m. So I literally got there for opening time this morning, and I've been trying to stay off my phone, but it's so hard to not. So I literally have been like rolling my eyes, tapping my fingers all morning to not open my phone. And yeah, it's since blown up to like 700,000. I've not looked at it for the last few hours. I'm gonna look at it again this evening to see what it's doing, but it's projected to clear 1 million. Chat thinks it could do over 2 mil, which is crazy. I've already broken 2,000 followers. And yeah, like, it's mental. I have like 200 comments. I had 32 DMs at the last time I checked. And yeah, like, everything that I was like working towards with those 30 days has clicked, but way faster and way crazier than I could have anticipated or imagined. I was expecting the growth, but not this quickly and not in this fashion. So yeah, I'm excited to see what comes next. I will leave it for another couple of days and just see what happens before I start figuring out what I'm gonna do. And then yeah, we'll just sort of see where this journey goes. So I'm going to keep posting on YouTube and we'll see what we can do with this. And let's see what comes next year. But just to finish this video off, I just want to talk about those kind of like motivations for starting. And I spoke about that in the last video, which was why I left Sri Lanka. But I just want to do a quick recap for those of you that are still watching to explain why I started posting, how I started posting, and how I got to here. So, social media. I have wanted to post for a while. I've on and off started Instagram. I've on and off started YouTube. I think this YouTube channel was started in like 2015 or something, and something crazy. I looked earlier. And I've like posted the odd video, then deleted it, or had like typical British friendship groups and colleagues sort of laughing, taking the piss rather than supporting. So yeah, I've always kind of thought, oh no, okay, fine. Like I don't wanna push for something that's not meant for me. And then over the last kind of couple years, I felt more inclined to post, more empowered to post, but I've never really understood how or what the strategy is in order to develop your skills as a content creator, but also where to start. So what I decided to do was Instagram's sort of the platform that I know. Instagram's the platform I use. I've never used TikTok. I used Twitter when it was still Twitter, but I don't use that anymore. I've never used like LinkedIn or any of Snapchat, any of these other social media platforms. And I've never really used YouTube. Like I've never really subscribed to big creators to watch their sort of lives or those sort of travel vlogs and things, which I know are really popular. So it's interesting that I've now kind of found myself in this space where I want to be a part of it, and I've never really done it myself. Whereas with Instagram, I've seen what people can do with their social media, for better and for worse, in terms of the platforms that it gives people to help, to inspire, to create positive groups and clubs wherever they're from, just off the back of their social media. But I'm also not naive to the fact of all of the opportunities that come with social media. So if you have the ability to grow your public image, so to speak, it opens so many doors. Not just for I want to stay for free in a hotel, because that's not me, that's not what I am seeking to achieve from this. And I am very confident, maybe delusional, in my ability to succeed. That's something that I've worked really hard on the last few years. So for me, I already have the blueprint or the idea of what being a big creator would look like for me. And when I watch creators, when I see them advertising or working with brands and stuff, I have always had kind of this mindset of wanting to understand things, so I don't really ever take things at face value. So for example, there are certain brands that I have seen big creators work with that I just wouldn't work with. So yeah, I have like this idea in my head of what I would be like or look like or prioritize as a creator. And for me, that is always going to be being myself, authentic, and helping people by providing a platform for others to succeed. So obviously that's a big claim and that's sort of a big dream, and you never know how it's going to go until you get there. When the opportunities arise, when you get offered things, it's going to be very difficult to push your principles up and over those career opportunities. But for me, it's not about the money, and even as I am looking to start my online business coaching, it's not about the money. I understand the need for money. I understand that we live in a capitalist society, and I understand that in order for me to live a certain lifestyle, I have to earn money. So that's my motivation. I don't need a lot of money. I live fairly comfortably in Asia on probably 1,500, 2 grand a month. So that's kind of realistically what I need to earn. I don't need or aspire to be driving Ferraris and other things. Like, I'm not a materialistic person. So for me, the motivation is to share my story to help. Because I felt like I made a real difference when I was a police officer in individuals' lives, and now I want to multiply that to everyday people on a big platform. So that's where I have essentially found myself, to like the motivations and things. And I already feel like in my head that this is a sort of video that gets clipped when the big creator goes huge, blows up, and is living a certain lifestyle. They'll be like, hey, look, you said this in your video on the 26th of November in 2025. You said it wasn't about the money, and now you're flying business class. It's so yeah, maybe this is famous last words, but that's genuinely where I sit right now. And I hope that I will think back to this video and watch this video back and remember that when I see how far this career trajectory takes me. So, bit of a waffle, but I think that it was important to provide context as to the why. Anyway, that's today's episode, and it was just about social media. So I am not sure what I'm going to talk about on the next YouTube video. I've got a list, but that's over there in my room. So I will see you on the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. Follow me on Instagram because that's blowing up. And yeah, let's get to 100 subs, because that is very much in my wheelhouse now. And then we'll keep growing and see where we can get to. So subscribe, and then tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. Peace.